welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, what episode is this?
134.
134,000 episodes
Thousand.
we have recorded
Whoa.
of the LeggLife.
Look at us go.
Here's what I'll say.
I don't remember a lot of those.
Well, it's definitely not 134,000 because we've missed like 134,000 weeks in a row.
Dang it.
We
Listen, we had every intention of recording for the last month, but we forgot. And then things happened, and then we forgot again, and then we didn't feel like it.
I think that it was just, honestly, I think it was one of those things where life was just so busy that the things that had to get like pushed off the plate were the podcast, and we even missed some vlogs over on YouTube.
Yeah.
It just felt like...
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. We've had friends staying in our house for basically the last 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. We have different friends at different times. We took our last friend to the airport last night.
Boo.
But I think now we're getting back into a little bit more of a routine, like a little bit more of our normal.
I think so.
And so we wanted to get back to recording podcasts because we really do love doing these. And so excuses aside, I'm sorry we missed a bunch, but gosh darn it, we're back.
At least this week.
Exactly. Exactly. At least we're back.
Here's why we're not like, we'll talk to you next week on next week's podcast. We're like, we'll just see you next time, whenever that might be.
No, we're going to do it every week. Damn it.
Oh.
Okay. Here's what we're talking about today, Sherry.
You said the damn word.
I did say the damn word. So we're talking about something today that has kind of been a little bit of a theme over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Many of you will remember that a couple years ago we did I think it was a month-long podcast series about relationships.
Yeah.
Different, not just romantic relationships, but interpersonal relationships. And we might have touched on this topic. I don't fully remember, but we're going to deep dive into it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And what we're talking about today is kind of the ebb and flow, the balance of independence, codependence, and interdependence.
Yes.
Just as a quick kind of overview, you could deep dive into each of those. Independence is obviously the I don't need others, I can do it myself, I have very independent, like I can stand on my own and I don't need the help of others.
I'm an island.
Codependence is I really, really need you. Like I
can't do anything without you.
I can't do anything without you. I'm always close. I'm clingy. I'm a golden retriever. I'm just like...
He says as I'm literally like laying against him.
Yeah, just so you guys know, we're not recording this in our studio because the studio is not yet set back up.
Right.
So we're sitting on our couch snuggling. But codependence is that I can't do it or I really don't want to do it without you.
Right.
In an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
Interdependence is where I can view like the healthy aspects of my own independence, but I also fully see and realize that I am actually better with you, that we are like I am interdependent on you and you are interdependent on me. Mm-hmm. It is the healthy balance of those.
I believe yes.
And so why in the world are we talking about this now? Well, a couple things. We got to go have coffee with somebody a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And as we were having coffee with her, one of the things that Sherry and I kind of took away from that conversation was a mentality that a lot of people come to Alaska with.
Yeah.
Alaska is a very, it's a location that draws independent souls. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the off-grid, maybe it's the wild, maybe it's the, I can live off the land. It's just that rustic frontier. You know,
it's the last frontier.
It's the last frontier. I think of like the kind of people that would come to Alaska in search of gold during the gold rush. Mm-hmm. Just these independent miners, these independent individuals in Alaska.
And even nowadays, I think that there's like fewer gold miners, but there's still just this rush of people that to them, like Alaska is kind of this unknown wild, and the kind of thing like if I can make it there, I can make it anywhere, or like I don't know, just sort of like something that draws them here because they want to stand on their own 2 feet.
Yeah, it's almost like whether they feel like they have something to prove to themselves or to others that if I can make it in Alaska, I can make it anywhere, and I'm going to prove that I can.
Right.
Kind of thing. And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
However, I'm going to argue, and we'll talk about this, that like that's not the healthiest or the best way to live. And so anyway, we have this conversation, and it's kind of an independent streak. of like, I can do it on my own. I don't want to ask for help. I you know what I mean? I've got this. And it was just so funny to us because we hear so many people who come to Alaska with that independent streak, and they come to Alaska thinking that they're going to learn how to stand on their own. But more times than not, it's not independence they discover here. It's interdependence they discover.
Right.
Because Alaska is a harsh place.
Yeah, it's a hard place to live.
It's a hard place to live. And one of the things that you realize when you get here is that we all have this need for others, not in an unhealthy codependent way, but in a healthy way that I get through the year in Alaska better with you, and you get through the year in Alaska better with me. And we were designed to be interdependent on one another in a healthy way.
Right.
When I get stuck in the snowbank, I need you to help pull me out. When you get stuck in the snowbank, you know what I mean? It's like, that's how it works. And so we were just kind of reminded in our conversation of the number of people that we've seen come to Alaska in search of or with the drive of independence, yet what they discover is actually healthy interdependence. We thought that's kind of interesting.
And that was kind of one of the things that she brought up, like just how kind and like serving people are here, like because she is very independent, and she had some problems with her car, and people like bent over backwards to make sure that she was taken care of, that her car was taken care of, that.
And to her it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But Sharon and I were just like, well, yeah, that's Alaska. Right.
That's just sort of what we do, because at some point we're all going to need help. And so I'm going to help you, and then when I need help, you're going to help me.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of the mentality that you actually have when you get up here. Like,
and I think we saw it again with our friend we took to the airport last night. Love her dearly, but also like independent. It's funny, we joked a lot about this with her over the last week or so. But even like packing stuff up and going to the airport and carrying boxes and getting there and that kind of stuff, like there's this desire to like, I hate the fact that you have to help me. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to do this myself. And it's like, yeah, but it's so much easier when we do this together.
Right. That's what we're here for. We're family. We're gonna help you. Let us help you because we want to.
And we're all better when we live interdependently in a healthy way.
Yeah.
All right, Sherry, I want to talk to you about independence, codependence, interdependence. Not necessarily currently, but over the course of your life, where do you think you have fallen the most in those three? Or what's the bucket you feel like you fit in the most? You know what? I'll say this. Think of your first... Don't think of the last 15 years of your life.
Okay.
Think of like kind of your growing up.
Okay. I think that I am naturally fairly independent.
Okay.
Let's be real honest, I don't have a whole lot of trouble being a burden. I don't really have trouble like asking for help if I need it. But there's also a part of me that's like, however, I will exhaust all of my resources before I ask for help, because there's a part of me that wants to prove to myself that I can do it, I think.
So asking for help would be like last on the list. After you've like, dang it, I can't do it, so I guess I have to ask for help.
Yes, but I do feel like I'm getting, the last, you said you didn't want to ask about the last 15 years or so. I feel like I'm getting better about just asking earlier in the process. Like I'm still going to try a couple things myself, but like if I don't think that I can do it, then I'm going to ask.
So you feel like you have gone from independent to more interdependent?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. I
don't know that I'm codependent.
Yeah?
I don't know. You know me better than I do,
yeah,
so...
I would largely say that you are, again, in kind of the way that you did it was break it up. I would say when I first met you, independent, but you have moved to interdependent, I think still, like, in that process.
Yeah. I'm still in the process for sure, but I think that there's, especially in the last decade or so, there's just been things that have occurred in my life around me and to me that have sort of forced interdependence.
Yeah.
Because there were times in my life that I could not for myself.
And like, there's a gift in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like when you were so sick.
When I was so sick, when I lost my job, like there's things that I had to rely on other people for because I could not do it myself.
Forced interdependence.
Forced interdependence.
Now, for an for an independent person, what was that like? Was that hell, or was that?
I think that I don't want to be a burden. I kind of want to be invisible, I guess, I think. And that's sort of been an overarching theme throughout my life. And I don't necessarily, I mean, I want to be known, I want to be seen, but I kind of don't. Like, it's this battle in myself constantly that I want people to see me, but I kind of don't. Like, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to feel like I actually need people. But then, like, and I think that is probably, you know, the God part of me that I'm built for community, and and
I'm going to touch on that a little bit later.
Yeah, so I mean, there is always a piece of me that's like, I don't want you to see me, but I know that I need you to see me.
That's the perfect way to put it. I don't want you to see me, but I need you to see me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You're kind of an anomaly to me because you hate the thought of being seen, but the thought of not being seen you also hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Right.
It's like, well, how do both of those exist, right?
Right.
And so, I think I would agree with you, kind of everything you said. Independent, moving to kind of learning what interdependence looks like. But largely for you, it's kind of been forced interdependence.
Yes, I think so.
That makes sense. I think for me, I would say naturally I'm codependent. And that largely comes from, I think, kind of my core area of wounding or fear is largely that people will leave me or abandon me, or that I won't be good enough, and so what that drives me to do is like this codependent, like, hi, how are you? Can I be close? You want to be close? I need you. Let's be close to each other. Like, let's be, you know what I mean? Like this, I'll prove myself to you. Like you know what I mean? I'll make myself so great to you and so close to you that you will never leave me. You'll never abandon me. Like, that's kind of my,
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my codependent nature. But I'm with you. I feel like over the last 15, 20 years, I have moved more to interdependence, reluctantly so. And honestly, like, I'll even touch back into when you were sick. You and I have always been the couple that helped other people.
Right.
We have no kids. We've been very fortunate to be dual income, and so we always had available resources. So when a need came up with a friend, like, we wouldn't even have to discuss it.
Right.
It was like, of course we're gonna like take care of that.
Right. And I mean, honestly, like, there's so many times that it's like you're on the way to the store to buy whatever people need, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna do this. Oh, okay. Like, it wasn't even like a discussion. Like, obviously, yes.
And so that's just always been us. And so when you were sick and we were in a place where we needed help from others, that actually was very uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
Because I struggled with that because I was like, we were on the other side of need.
Right.
And that just sucked. But what it showed me a couple things. I thought back to all of the times that you and I have been able to help people and how that made us feel. Right? And it's like, I love helping people, and I feel almost robbed when I don't have the option to.
Enneagram 2.
I'm an Enneagram 2. That's right. I'm the helper.
Right.
And so I kind of realized that it's like, actually, when I am interdependent with my community in a healthy way, then I get to feel loved and seen and cared for, and they get to feel like they are involved in helping, and they get to feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they matter, and that there's purpose, and that they're a part of something. And so it actually, in a healthy way, serves both of us.
Yep.
And so that's kind of showed me. So I think it's interesting that I am naturally used to be codependent, you naturally independent, and we're both moving towards codependence.
Nope, interdependence.
That's what I said. I'll edit it.
That's what
later.
you meant.
I'll edit it later.
Well, probably
I'm
not.
just kidding. I don't
We
edit.
don't edit
I don't
our
edit these.
podcast.
Give me a break. How much you guys think we care?
Jeez.
But here's the thing. Here's one of the reasons that we've kind of been moving, and Sherry touched on this earlier, is this, and it's actually funny we're recording this podcast now because I'm literally teaching on this weekend at one of our trainings. So you guys know our worldview, followers of Jesus, kind of believe a biblical story of created in the image of God. And we believe that God himself, God itself, communal, right? Father, Son, Spirit, 3 in 1. So God himself is community, right? And so when we were created in the image of God, community was actually part of the divine in us. Our need for each other was actually part of the divine in us.
Right.
It's weird to think of the Father needing the Son, needing the Spirit, but they operate in different ways, in different strengths, with different giftings to accomplish a greater purpose.
Right.
And we all as humanity do as well.
Right.
Like,
I mean, the very first thing that God said was not good was that man was alone.
Man was created alone. And
The very first thing he was like, oh, nope, don't like that.
that's exactly right. We were created to be interdependent.
Yeah.
Of each other. And I think that for me, as I've better understood that idea, that concept that I was created in the image of a communal God for community with others, has kind of challenged me in my codependence.
Yeah.
It's driven me back to interdependence to say, okay, what does community look like? What does it look like to live life with others in a healthy way?
Yeah, and it's challenged me in my independence.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so our
Drawn us more to that center.
And so our friend who's moving, in my unhealth, I would want to help her so very much so that she saw the value in me and so that she wouldn't abandon me. And so that, you know what I mean? I proved my worth, but look how good I packed your boxes. Don't you not want to leave me now? Look how much I helped you. Don't you want to stay close? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's what I would do. And so for me instead now it's well, of course the option of not helping you is not even on the table because this is what family does. This is what friends do.
Because we love you and we care about you and you are worth it.
Yeah.
You are worth our love and our support and our help.
And the reality is that if we needed help, she would do the exact same thing for us.
And has.
Yeah. And so I think that that's one of the things that I just, I don't know, as you get older and you kind of look at relationships and how you've approached people, I think, it can be awkward to accept help. It can be awkward to say, oh, I need others. But the reality is I'm 44, and I think today I realize that I need people more than I ever have in my life.
Yeah.
That as much as I wish I could say, you okay over there?
I'm fine.
It kind of sounds like you're dying.
I'm fine.
You sure? You want me to get you some water?
Nope, I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good. I'm fine.
We need to run some intermission music. While Sherry goes and gets a water to not die.
Hacks up my lungs.
Hacks up her lungs.
I'm fine.
What a great podcast this is. And so, I don't know. I don't even remember what I was saying before the episode.
Sorry.
Before the hacking episode began. But, I was saying kind of as I get older, I think there's this danger that with age, the more people you have in your life, the more times you get hurt by people. And the easier it is to let pain from relationship drive you away from relationships and away from people, to say, you know what? I've been hurt in relationship. I've been hurt by people. Screw them. I'm just going to do my own thing over here by myself.
Right.
We were not made that way, though.
Right. No, we're not.
Right? Again, made in the image of a communal God for community with others. And so the question then is okay, so how do I do that in a healthy way? And here's what I'll say. That's awkward.
Yep.
It's uncomfortable to learn.
Yeah.
It can be uncomfortable if you are a helper and you have always been the helper. It's uncomfortable to be in a place to say, actually, you know what? Would you help me with this? I really need your help. I'm tired. I could actually use help with this.
And it's uncomfortable when you're used to doing it on your own and I can do this myself, to be like, I can't do this myself. I need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's real hard.
I'm used to standing on my own, but I'm tired and I need you to help me stand. That sucks.
Yeah.
How,
But you know what? It's so nice when they give you that shoulder to lean on. When your community shows up and helps you stand because you can't.
Yeah. I think that's the answer. And I think that takes an honest look in the mirror to say, okay, I'm not going to believe like my own press. I want to look and say like, really, how am I? You know, for me, 20 years ago, I would not have said I was a codependent person. That naturally kind of in my unhealth, I would be codependent. But looking back on it, I see the way that I absolutely was. I don't know, would you have said you were independent?
Yes.
Oh, you've always known that about yourself?
Yes.
How independent of you. How independent of you.
Yep.
But I think that take an honest look, say, okay, how am I doing with relationships? How am I doing with these three areas? And then what is a healthy way for me to move to codependence?
Yeah.
Or no.
Interdependence.
Gosh, why am I so terrible at that?
I don't know.
You know what? I think most podcasts, we have an adult beverage beforehand. And I think it helps clear the brain fog. Also, to be fair, we haven't recorded a podcast in 36 weeks.
Well, that too.
So we're a little, we're a little bit rusty.
A little rusty. It's fine.
This is a little bit shorter of an episode. But we could continue going, but I feel like it would be a bit rambling.
Yeah, but I do think that it's so important. And, you know, again, because we had these interactions with our friends who came and stayed here, and then our other friend who came and stayed here, and then meeting up with this other friend, it's been a theme over the last few weeks that we really do need each other. We depend on each other, and I think, you know, there's that dependence that we need. We need the interdependence.
I remember at the going away party of a friend last week, one of our other friends made a statement that just like I really related to. It was like, we were kind of sad that our friends leaving. And one of the bummers is like, you know what? I don't want to make more friends. I really liked the friends that I had.
Right.
It's like, well,
you're leaving a hole and now I have to fill it? Like, yeah, it's dang like
I liked it before I had like to fill that hole.
Right.
But I think that's, again, one of the dangers is that we would just say, well, I had good friends last year. Like, I'm okay. But we have to kind of continually be asking the question, like, do I have healthy community that I can live interdependently with?
Yeah.
Do I have people in my life that that need me in a healthy way, that I get to step in and help? And are there people in my life that when I need help would step in and help?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, friends. There you go. Our first podcast back in 6 years.
I like that it's been a different time
different number every time.
Every time.
Well, let's be honest. We have no idea when our last podcast was.
It's fine.
But here's what I want to know. First of all, go over to YouTube, search LeggLife Podcast, find this episode, and let us know in the comments, which of these, honestly, do you feel like you have identified the most with? And then talk to us a little bit about interdependence. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like you're doing good at that? Do you feel like it's like, oh no, I'm way too independent to ever need another person?
Right. But I also feel like there are people, and I feel like they are unicorns, but I feel like there are people that are just really good at the interdependence.
They naturally do it.
They just naturally are. That is not us. We each fall on either side of this, but man, if that's like where you naturally fall.
I think that we are having to learn to be interdependent. There are some people who just naturally know how to be interdependent.
Right.
That's just sort of what they do. And yeah, if that's you, like just, well, good job, you win. like, you set the high score for this week. Kudos.
Kudos to you.
Gosh.
I'm a little bit jealous because it is hard to learn.
It is hard to learn. Yeah, because and
it's hard to accept that I need other people.
Yeah, and for me, it's hard to keep that codependent spirit in check that would cause me to manipulate other people to, like, oh, do you see how good I am? Do you see, like, I'm doing so good? Like, let me be really close to you. You're not going to get rid of me now, right? You're going to, like...
Right. So, like, you always need other people, but you need other people in an unhealthy way.
I need it in an unhealthy way. That's right.
But so switching it to the health is good. I feel like I just don't need other people, but I know that I do.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
My guess... That's probably the most common.
The independence?
The independence, yeah. That's kind of you know what I mean?
Probably.
And especially here in Alaska.
Especially in Alaska, but I feel like it's also, I think that it's sort of like our generation. Like, we were kind of forced to be independent in a lot of ways. I think that we were one of the first generations where, you know, both parents worked, and, you know, you were kind of on your own a lot. And so you kind of had to be independent from an early age.
Well, I think part of it, and it's so funny, we were going to end this podcast a couple minutes ago, but I think even thinking of how much throughout human history, it was never about an individual standing on their own. It was about the power of community to stand together.
Right.
Right? I mean, whether you go back to whether it is like tribal kind of cultures where it was like the power of the tribe in what they did, or you go back to like early farming communities when it was like the whole family, like we all had to be involved in order to like make our life and, you know, like all of this happen. Like life itself required the involvement of other people.
Right.
But as a culture and as a society, we've gotten to a place where life itself doesn't involve anybody but me and a Wi-Fi connection.
Right.
You know? And I don't actually think that that's healthy because we were created in the image of a communal God for community with others.
Right.
Yet we live in a time in the world that absolutely tears at that.
Yeah.
Now can we end it?
Yes.
All right, guys.
Sorry, I just got a little
No, I love that. I'm glad you got
background philosophical.
I think that's great. But you guys, we love you again. Head over there, leave us a comment. Want to hear where you're at on this. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know.
We will see you, frickin' fingers crossed, next week. If not next week, it'll be another 16 and a half years. You guys, we love you so very much. And we'll see you on the next LeggLife podcast.
Bye.
Bye.